Okay, I'll call the Mchenry Township monthly meeting to order on March 14th at 7 p.m. If you join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Supervisor Barla.
I am here.
Trustees Shaver.
Here.
Yeager.
Here.
Macredo.
Here.
Benedigo is absent. So
It's all mine. Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll skip to 3, approval of the meeting minutes from the regular town meeting on February 8, 2024. May I get
I'll make a motion to
discuss some possible action?
discuss and possibly action or take action on the meeting minutes from the last meeting.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on those?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay. With no discussion, I would, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no nays, passes as written. Number 4, motion for approval and receipts of the bills for the town fund. Go ahead, yep.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 14th day of March 2024 examined and audited the amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payments of same. Total reimbursements to be approved, $217. Total bills to be approved, $11,348.19. Total bills paid prior to audit, $85,968. Total to be approved, $97,533.19. Total receipts, $22,902.12. I make a motion that we approve and pay these bills.
Second.
Will the clerk call the roll?
Supervisor Barla.
Yes.
Trustees Shaver.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes.
Macredo.
Yes.
All ayes. Motion carries.
Okay, item number 5 is the approval and receipts of bills for the general road and bridge fund.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 14th day of March 2024 examined and audited amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payments of the same. Total reimbursements to be approved, 0. Total bills to be approved, $68,593.37. Total bills paid prior to audit, $15,982.16. Total to be approved, $84,575.53. Total receipts, $3,576.44. I move that we pay these bills.
I'll second.
Okay. Will the clerk call the roll?
Supervisor Barla.
Yes. Pay the bill.
Trustees Shaver.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes.
Macredo.
Yes.
All ayes. Motion carries.
Item number 6, motion for approval of receipts and bills from the permanent art road.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 14th day of March 2024 examined and audited amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payment of the same. Total reimbursements to be approved, none. Total bills to be approved, $536.55. Total bills paid prior to audit, $18,129.82. Total to be approved, $18,666.37. Total receipts, $1,773.50. Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second those. Will the clerk call the roll?
Supervisor Barla.
Yes.
Trustees Shaver.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes.
Macredo.
Yes.
All ayes. Motion carries.
Okay, fund transfers, none at this time. On to number 8, new business. Discussion regarding ongoing grants process, discussion and possible action. I'll make a motion for discussion. There isn't really any action to be taken tonight. I'll make the motion for discussion.
I'll second.
Okay. I'll give you an update real quick. So we had CDBG. We applied for a grant to help with replacement of park equipment. It's my understanding, I have to go look at the videotape, but we didn't get any park funding out of CDBG, so that's a 0. Excuse
I'm
me.
sorry to interrupt. We're not going to watch it.
Nope, you're fine. We got
Okay,
it. We got it.
thank
Thank you. So there's no funding out of CDBG. That was a fairly large grant. There's some learnings in there that we need to take away. I think our grant was fairly large in the scheme of things. My understanding is that there was $2.6 million worth of ask and $1.3 million worth of grant available. So we asked for a fairly large one, and I think that may have hurt us. So, but we're learning about grant writing. So I think that what we'll do is we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll go look for some more grants and polish our plans so we know what's executable with the funds that we have currently allocated. There's an AARP grant that we've applied for the buses. I believe it's approximately $15,000 if my memory serves me correctly. That's been submitted. Hopefully should hear back shortly one way or another. Then still following, we were asked to continue submitting our grant at the Community Foundation for the buses. That one is a little bit different. That's in the way that grant was originally written was to include the village of Hebron and the townships of both Richmond and Burton, with the 4 of us working together to grow busing out here in this rural area. It's a $75,000 grant with a potential renewal for 3 years. So if you take 75,000 divided by 4, all of that money can be used in McHenry County. So you could technically commingle. If we did something for Hebron, let's say we ran a bus, we'd have an intergovernmental agreement. We ran a bus out there and drove them to the grocery store. We could use funding for that. But our taxpayer dollars can't be used to do something for outside of the township that we raise and spend and budget for our buses. So that's going on with the Community Foundation. And then last but not least is the Senior Service Grant Commission. We did receive $24,000 from the county on that. So for buses. So we got a little bit going on, and I'll continue to look for both bus and park grants for right now. Those are my 2 key priorities. I also attended in the middle of February a grant writing class down at TOI and learned more about state grants, and I need to learn how to focus on searching that database and finding grant money in that database versus the county. There seems to be more money available at the state level than there is at the county level, and it's just a matter of learning how to work it. So that's a charge that I've charged myself with in learning how to get more grants. Anybody, any questions on any of the grants?
The CDBG grant, that was for the park equipment?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, in the scheme of things, what we've originally had budgeted, we're going to go back and look at what we've got in the quote and see what we can remove. Right now, we wouldn't be able to break ground and have it completed for this summer, so we're not going to have any park equipment this summer. It'll probably be next spring that we would be able to get working on it. So I want to tighten up the plan and the funding a little more, and that's why I want to continue to look for another grant for that.
Are we going to tear down the park equipment or just part of it? Or?
We can tear the whole thing down, but again, that costs money and
Yeah,
part of.
well, I'm thinking if anything, we just leave the main structure up, the poles, or what's his name from the city of Mchenry suggested We,
removing all the slides and
the
stuff?
slides and stuff.
just leave the poll?
Polls, right. That's what.
I can
can't
put it
remember
on the
saying
list, we can start
that.
doing
Just
that.
a thought, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. I know what you're worried about is them climbing over the snow fence and
Right.
hurting themselves with, and I share that too. I asked for the snow fence to get straightened and tightened so that it makes it a little more difficult for them to hop the fence. Any other questions? Main structure.
I think you know it.
Yeah, I just think it's out there. 8.2, approval of the annual town meeting agenda. You guys all saw that. And I'm looking for a motion for discussion and possible action on that.
I can't say I read it, so
So
Make a
I'll make a
motion.
motion that we, for discussion and possible action of the
Second.
town. Okay. Discussion.
my understanding is you talked about the senior bus program.
Yeah,
Okay, so your
in
personal-
in my report, I will report out on all the numbers in the senior bus program, and I will ask an informal question, is that that's still the strategic direction that they want us to go in, which we all know it is.
But if there's no one there, how are we gonna handle that?
Pardon me?
If there's lack of attendance at the,
There has to be at least 15.
I understand that, that's why I asked the question. If we don't have 15 people there, it's,
Then we don't have a meeting.
well, you have to have the meeting, we have a choice in the meeting.
I don't know the answers to those
And
questions.
we can't make any decisions, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
Deb,
Well, number one, I don't make, and the board doesn't
It's not
make
on
any
the agenda,
decision.
you can't do
It's the electors that make the decisions
Decisions,
at that
correct,
meeting.
correct.
So if they don't have a quorum, I can still, we can still have the meeting from an informational standpoint, but
Correct.
it's not an official meeting.
Okay, so, may I ask a question on that? So just so I understand correctly, if we don't have 15 electors present, if there was something we hope to make a decision on, let me take a step back. If there's something we hope to make a decision on, and there are 15 or more electors present, we can actually have them make the decision.
Oh, yeah.
If
Well-
there's not 15 present,
You can
then
still
no
have
decisions can be
him
made,
as
but we can just have it.
informational.
Okay,
So, reviewing the agenda, there's nothing on the agenda that requires a decision.
There's no vote.
The agenda
There is-
is made
Yeah,
up
but
by
it's-
the electors. They would have had to have contacted us to put something on the agenda.
There was a
It's
deadline
not-
by March 1st.
It's not our decision to make up that agenda.
we cannot put anything on the agenda.
You could have.
We could have if we wanted to.
You missed that deadline though.
Right.
Okay. Well, my question about that was going to be, what is the time frame that we must adhere to when making the decision to change elected official salaries?
180 days before the election. So
180
So the next annual meeting will be inside of the window of that time frame till the election.
the board makes a decision on
They
salaries,
don't, we do that.
Not the electors.
not the elected.
Right.
Okay. I was more thinking, would we want to bring that up as a
Informational.
point of conversations?
It's
Get
in
a-
tonight's
Not a
agenda.
poll, but
It's
get a
not-
sentiment.
It's an agenda tonight.
I know, I'm saying, but at the annual meeting, would it make it, I don't know.
I can add it in as an informal question if there's anybody there.
But if you bring that and the bus service up, it's possible that we can get, at least a handful of people there. Last year, we had 3 people, I think, right?
No, that's not
Oh,
true.
I don't remember.
Public? We had Carl Kaminsky, we had,
I don't
I
remember.
don't remember
I
last
don't
year.
remember anybody
Yeah.
but Carl.
Judy and Bob.
Yeah, those are the 3. That's right.
So,
We had over 15.
You had over 15.
including ourselves, yeah.
Well,
Right,
But
you
we all
guys are all,
elected.
you're all electors.
We're
That's
We're
right.
elected. You know.
here, the trustees are just citizens.
Yeah, at that meeting, we're just elected.
So everybody's equal,
Yeah.
other than me. I get to be.
No, 3-4 years ago, it'd be a different story. This room was packed.
Yeah, that was time.
This room was packed.
So, all those in favor of the agenda proposed, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing no nays, the agenda passed. 8.3, the approval of, what I would like to do, or I'd like to make a motion to table this one until a potential person who has more knowledge about this can support the conversation. So I'd like to move this to the end of the agenda.
I second that.
That's 8.3. And that's the discussion and possible action on the resolution from the COG.
Okay, that was, you made the motion.
Yeah, and John seconded it. Okay, going to old business.
Need a vote.
Oh, all those in favor of moving that to the end of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Old business, 9.1.
I'll make a motion that we discuss and have possible action on the elected official salaries.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
I just want to make sure that we do what we need to do in this category with the appropriate amount of time and with the appropriate amount of forethought. After having recently gone through the budget conversations, we need to probably within the next meeting again circle back with that information and what we had talked about before as far as what the board's recommendations were for restoring elected official salaries to where they were prior to the last board attempting to sabotage the township.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, Adam, what you're asking me to do is take the existing budget from this year and then add what we discussed earlier in the year, going back to where we left off before the previous board.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm
I just want to make sure.
I'm happy to help if needed, but either the current budget or the budget we just finalized, and just use those numbers to model out how what we propose would affect the overall budget next year.
Yeah.
You have that at the last meeting, and I shouldn't say the last meeting, the last time you guys, I'm sorry.
Does that include this year's budget? And
So it was all projected out, so it would just be the difference.
you're looking for a total budget number and how it impacts the total budget, not just salaries. That's what they would like.
Both of those, yes.
Yes.
The individual line item and the total budget.
So the total budget, it would be affected with, all right, for the first year, be 33,000 plus. I didn't have to pull the assessor. All right, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and if you think about like, not too complicated, but literally just,
You really just want the difference of what it is to where it's gonna go.
well, but as I understand it, it would affect the salary line item. Doesn't it also affect like IMRF and
Right, which
Potentially HRA.
that's 33,000 for everybody.
So what would we use to
It's not
project
33
as our,
It's more than 33,000.
No, it's not.
for the actual salary portion?
No, it's got, I'm sorry, it's got to be more, because Gary's getting double, road district's
No,
getting
no,
double.
no, no. I said he was asking about like the other stuff, not the salary, the other
I was
stuff.
saying
Oh, okay,
all-
okay.
Just the
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
stuff
he's
by
talking-
itself
okay,
is
he's talking-
33,000.
Okay, okay.
Salaries are different.
Yeah, I thought it was including salaries.
Yeah, ideally what I would see is, you know, with the budget
I
that
can
we
do
just
that.
passed this year.
That's easy enough to do.
Yeah, with the budget we passed this year, we increased the reserves from like 5.5 months to 9 months, if I remember correctly.
I think we're at 7.25 right now.
Right now, yeah, and then the
Right,
next
so
budget.
we're looking to
which
be
is-
at 9.
Yeah, like, so basically, the end of the next budget is the end of this board.
Well, you're not gonna
Until
know,
we're reelected,
right, you're
until
not
there's
gonna know
an
what that
election.
is, because you don't know what you're levying for yet either, for the following year.
but
Correct,
if you
So you
model,
would have to model it after what you already got plus
yeah.
black boxing.
if you, I don't know how it works, and let me scratch that statement. I do know how it works, but
It's backwards.
if you were to take our levy from this year
Correct,
and add 5% to it,
correct.
and use that number to budget it
That's
back
how I
into
would
every.
do it.
That's how.
I can do,
Yeah.
yes, I can mock up a budget for next year.
Yeah, the long and short and all of my, like, desire to see something is how far does that, if, assuming all
How
of their
does it
budget items stay
deplete
the
the
same?
reserves?
Correct,
That's what you're looking for.
correct.
Correct. So if you were to keep everything status quo with the increases, how would it affect?
Correct. And that would also
All right,
include
so
the following year, that budget would go into effect with the increased salaries. We know that our board has also recommended maybe a little bit larger of an increase for salaries for other people. You almost have to
It
look
would
at it from
still
the lens
have,
of,
I would do it with the average of 3% over, yes.
Yeah.
I know how to mark up the next one.
Oh, I'm just, yeah,
Pardon me?
just saying, just.
Right,
like what
they're
I'm
just
trying to
gonna
get.
give you a guesstimate. Easy enough. When do you want that?
Tuesday.
I'm going,
No, the next meeting, I think the
I'm
next
going to
meeting,
give
You
you a
never asked that
letter.
question.
Yes, you never asked that.
I don't know, when do you want it?
no, by the next
Couple
meeting.
If
weeks.
you want it, I will get it.
I would like to see it a couple weeks before the meeting and
Before
ask,
the April meeting?
yes. Or is there,
That, we only have 3 weeks before the next meeting. So because this meeting's so late
yeah,
and the next one is
Early.
early, there's only like 3.5 weeks.
Right.
And there's a lot of other stuff that has to happen in those 3 weeks, so
well, that's right, it's audit season. I'm sorry.
you're not
We
gonna,
close the year
well,
and
right,
everything.
so you're not
That's
gonna
fine.
have
May's
it
fine.
a couple weeks prior to the meeting.
No,
I
well,
can make sure it's the week before, but not a couple weeks
May.
prior.
How about May?
I can have it done in April, that's not, I just won't,
Just
he was
Gary won't
asking
have
it
it
for a
several-
couple weeks prior to the
I don't
meeting.
have what?
Gary just want to have a several week preview before,
I can, do you want
whatever's
it?
April, May,
We only have
So we
18
have-
months for the election.
So,
we have time.
we have time, so maybe not the April meeting, have it prepared for the May meeting.
I'll have it for you.
And then it'll be early in May that they get an opportunity to look at it. Okay.
I will get it done.
They can
Okay,
individually.
no
hear.
problem, whatever you guys want.
Can I ask a question? I'm just curious, it sounds, and Adam was gonna back up, not to.
No, I can back up too.
Well, no, you can hear me here, I think. Just curious, it sounds like you're looking at what the budget's gonna be to determine what the salaries are gonna be, is that what I'm hearing?
So if you may recall, because I know you were part of the conversations when we were here, we were talking about what do we bring all the elected official salaries back to? Jim, I think, actually produced some good information about, what would it look like if they had remained the same and had gotten the standard, 3-4% increase like everybody else does. And then if you take that and you project out what by the end of the term the increase would look like, and you just average it out over the term of the next elected session, we came up with what those amounts were. What we need to do is make sure that there's budget to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I just.
So we could find that, if it deplete, like where my head is at is if we have 9 months of reserves by the end of next year, but the salaries by the following year would deplete the reserves to a month or two, like that obviously isn't gonna work.
Yeah, no, nowhere near that.
I don't think, just for sake of conversation, but I'm sure it wouldn't be that
Right.
bad. But,
Probably about a month of reserves, based on the increase
yeah,
and what the average is that we spend in a month.
so that's it.
The other part that I'd like to add to the conversation, and this goes back, a couple reasons for me bringing this up. When I applied to be on a conservation district, they told me I couldn't be on there because it's a township trustee. So, and that's true. But my question comes from, let's say, and I'm not trying to pick on Mary, I know I could cross that way. Mary's running for an office. If she gets that office, should we keep her pay the same? Again, it's just a discussion, I'm not trying to, and the same thing with you, Gary, you have a full-time job. If you get reelected and you decide to keep your full-time job, should we keep your salary the same? And again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, it's just open for discussion, and, I want to hear what everybody else's opinions are.
So what you're looking to get at is just, if someone has another obligation outside of the township, are they really gonna be able to devote the 40 hours that would coincide with and justify the full-time salary?
Correct. Down to
I think,
brass tacks, yeah.
I think that's a fair question. I think as part of that also then, if someone has full-time employment outside of the township where they're also getting benefits, then should the township provide benefits? Because like, I'm just using this as an example. Let's say Gary says, I'm gonna keep my job, but it's gonna go part-time, and he does the township full-time and gets benefits out, you know, like, if we could save money on the benefits, but someone gets the salary, you know, that's another way that we can help protect funds.
I'm just looking for opinions here.
Yeah.
Can I jump in
Sure,
here?
go ahead.
So just to be clear, I can only talk about the assessment position, but it's not a part-time job. And if I had another job outside of here, I would not be doing this job. It's just not fair. It's difficult to do it part-time. It's not a good thing. And the other thing is, when you're setting salaries for people who might be in those positions next time, not for who's here now.
Oh, correct.
And that it should be based on the qualifications and requirements of the job. So that, but I guarantee you, at least speaking for myself, I don't want 2 full-time jobs. I've done that before.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Not fun. But, yeah.
Well, Pat, maybe we should, if you have another, cause like, again, conservation, I couldn't take that job because I was a township trustee. Well, maybe we should come up with some type of.
What was there's a legal reason.
Look, I didn't ask, I said I couldn't take it, so okay, fine, I backed up. But I'm just saying, maybe we need a lawyer here, not that I like to spend money on the attorney, we all know that.
Let me call him.
Yeah, do that. But maybe we should, if you have another position, you know, I don't know how to define it necessarily. Outside of, I think we should talk about it.
Well, there are other townships in the state that have said, oh, if this person is elected, they get a certain amount of money, but if someone else is elected, they get less. Perhaps
Well,
our.
that's
I don't think you can do
No,
that.
no, I know that.
Situation.
But-
Legally, but if you.
No, I'm saying, but I'm just giving an example. But like, perhaps our attorney would say, if someone is gonna take the role full-time, this is the pay. If someone's gonna take the role part-time, this is the pay. Or, hey, the pay is commensurate with the amount of hours worked, or I don't know.
I think you're, just honestly, so John, you may have been, if you were applying to be on a commission, taxing body, conservation
No,
district.
it's conservation.
That's why you can't do it. You can't be on 2 taxing bodies.
Correct.
And I can tell you clearly, I know.
Well, there wasn't on the board though, it was just on the,
If that's why you were, it's because you were taxing bodies. That's the little that I know about that. I also know that you can be a state senator or a state representative and be an assessor. You'd be crazy, but you could do it. It is that question was asked several years ago, and there actually was an assessor in Fremont Township that was a state representative for 18 years. Crazy to do it, but again, I think and also I can talk about personal experience in working for assessors who really were never there. But I think we've already had issues with what you can tell an elected official to do. You could work, 100 hours a week, or you could work 20 hours a week, but at the end of the day, it's still a job that has to be done, and the name that's on the door is who's elected, and that's you. I'm hoping we'll be offering salaries that, people that will attract competent people. And again, and especially in the assessor position, and again, no offense to anyone, but none of you could be the assessor unless you get your training in the next year.
I'm sure we could if we wanted to.
So, you could do it, but you gotta get your certification, so, anyway, that's all.
I'm looking for other board members' comments here, What do you think there, Mark?
I think we cannot put limitations on who gets elected and what their
Well, I
salary
understand
is.
that, right.
You get this person gets elected, this is what their salary is. There's no way around that. That's the way it's gonna be. So if we got a highway commissioner that comes on 1 day a week and runs his crew and assigns somebody to do it, like he got elected, the salary is his or hers.
Yep.
So doesn't matter. Wherever they get, whoever gets elected gets the salary that comes with that elected position. That's my,
That's true. Can't tell an elected official what to do.
We know that.
No, but we have the responsibility to set the salary to be a fair amount for the amount of
Right,
work.
that's for sure. It's gotta be fair, come on.
right, but we can't change it. We have to set it 180 days before the election cycle.
Correct.
We can't change it.
Yeah.
Right, so we still have time to change it if we need
Yeah.
to. That's it, that's
Yeah,
all.
we haven't said.
But we can't say, you know, this is what your salary will be based on 40 hours, but if you work 36, it's only gonna be 90% of it.
No, no, no,
If you
Well,
work
we have
20, it's
people
gonna
out
be-
there that want us to only work 32.
What's that?
Mark, I'm more saying like the prior board literally
Bernie
said,
Sanders wants us to work 32.
Is that the
Make it
European
yeah.
model?
Yeah, it is. a-
Right.
Go back and forth every
It is
time.
in-
What's the CS
Yeah.
thing?
Well, you work,
no, I'm not saying to take hourly. I was saying
I work.
it's either a full-time or a part-time job.
It's
not.
yeah, we
We
have to anticipate it being a full-time job.
Correct.
We gotta anticipate whoever gets elected will do a good job.
Here it's,
We'll do what we're elected to do.
Correct.
I think Mark said it best though there.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked Mark, I was looking for his opinion. I wasn't swayed either way, it was just something to discuss.
All right.
So with no further discussion, can we move on to 9.2?
so
Why not?
there's no action.
No action.
No, there's no action.
No action,
It's just discussion.
just discussion.
I'll make a motion on 9.2 to table it till the next meeting.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
Why?
I don't have an update yet.
Okay,
Okay, I need a second on that.
I'll second that. So that was done. 9.3, table.
No, I don't think we need to stay. Here's my take on that.
What,
If
need a
we can't
motion?
afford it-
I'll make a motion to discuss 9.3.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Here's my take on that. If we can't afford playground equipment, why should we, look, I'd love to have pickleball courts out there, that's why I brought it up. If we can't afford something for the kids, you know, how come, maybe do we do that instead?
I appreciate you saying, I
5-year plan.
appreciate that,
I mean,
you know,
I think-
from that standpoint, is that, I'm with you. Let's get the park back in order, get the 2 to 12-year-olds the equipment to climb on, and move forward.
I agree.
Unless there might be like a pickleball grant that you could find, or,
Well, I think the other part that I
Well, you have
learned
to
in my grant search is that there is a grant, you can get grants to do planning. So I think that the park plan, while great when it was put together, we have all of these new additions that we continue to talk about. Community gardens, RC car tracks, pickleball courts. I think what we should do is pull it together and take a look at the geography that we, or the land that we have here, not
Yeah.
geography, and put a park plan together for future growth. You never know what's coming down, what the hop on is.
oh, that'd be great though.
But I think that's on the grant plan too, is let's find some planning money to where we can get a professional planner to come in and help us. Because I'm gonna call that lady and ask her, where can I find this money, and see what I can do. So, those are the things that I'm learning, as I grow older in this position. Okay, last one. That was it. Anything else on that discussion? Okay. On to proposed agenda items for the next meeting.
We're still gonna do that last.
Yeah, I'm still doing that last.
Did we land on the elected official discussion for April or May?
I will put it on for the proposed. I will try to get it done for next week.
You mean April or May?
For April,
For April for the continued
April.
discussion on,
on the elected official
Okay.
salaries.
Okay.
I will do my best.
So that would be one.
It should be pretty easy to just plug in some numbers. I'll just, you know,
I'm happy to help too, if you need help.
it's,
Yeah.
it can't be that difficult. I mean, what you're asking for, it's just gonna calculate the numbers. It's in an Excel sheet, so.
Any other proposed agenda items at this time? All I would ask is that you send me an email. Conversations are wonderful, but send me an email so I have a reminder that what you're looking for a couple weeks before the meeting would really be helpful. So then,
Maybe, actually, Gary, sorry, one question, because
Yep.
it may lead to a proposed item. The last meeting, there was some tail end discussion on our marketing efforts, I'll say, and the running of the Facebook page, and has there been any changes on that based on the last conversation?
well, we can put it on the next agenda, but I can tell you in the supervisor's report what's happened.
I didn't read the supervisor's report, I apologize.
Oh.
Right, so if you have that, then scratch my comment.
So we just have the April elected officials. So the supervisor's report, moving on. So you saw my written report, kind of an addition onto that is that we have canceled the contract with Think Big as of April 1st. Due to budget reasons. I mean, that was a lot of money that was going out. There's probably going to be a gap, but we would like to return to doing something, but there would be a little bit of a gap.
In just people posting or
Yeah.
having a company professionally manage it?
I don't foresee a professional company managing everything that I'm looking at from a cost standpoint, and my business life and what we were getting here. We can't afford a professional marketing company.
Yeah.
We might be able to piecemeal some things out to a marketing company if we need it, but I think that in what we're doing with Facebook, and we'll do everything to support the assessor and our Facebook Lives and things like that. We're going to continue to try to do those efforts, but yeah, just might be a little bit of a gap until we get things moving forward.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So if there's no questions to me regarding the supervisor's report, I'll move on to the assessor's report.
Again, I apologize for getting this to you just right before the meeting, but not a lot to tell you. We did finish our appeals about the middle or so of February and got all our numbers, so we have all the new information is rolled over on the website. That's all current and up to date with final 2023 assessments. And anybody who did appeal, they will have already received their notice. It went out the first week in March for any decision on any appeal, and then they have 30 days to appeal that to the state. So that, we don't know, we'll never know until people actually file if we have any state level appeals. It's usually, gosh, at least 5 or 6 months down the road before we would know that. We've already been working on our 24 assessments. My field staff's been out, as Gary knows, up in Johnsburg, a lot of you guys. But areas that really haven't been walked in a very long time. So we're really working to get that done. And that's been going on even when we were finishing appeals and everything. So it's not like we just started today or anything. Other than that, we really just have exemption forms that start to come in now. The county has to send them out to people who need renewals, and that typically happens in the next week or so. So then we get a little more activity, but we're just starting over at getting information and working on values for 24, and things are going pretty smoothly. So. Have a good system going.
Mary, do you know off the top of your head about what percentage of households in the township typically appeal their assessments historically, and how many or what percentage maybe appealed this last time? Like, did you get more appeals this last time than normal?
In 23, we had 250 appeals. significantly low for a quadrennial. The expectation would have been that there would have been a lot more, because typically you see a bigger jump during a quadrennial. We did see a big jump, but the sales prices had gone up for so much that quite honestly, we're still under-assessed in many, many cases. I know, hard to believe, but we are. People have to stop paying those prices. Typically, it's like, it's not even, it's like 0.5%. I mean, out of 25,000 parcels,
Yeah,
in a busy year, we might get 800.
okay.
When the market crashed, townships here were getting about 1,200 to 1,400.
Okay.
Those were huge numbers.
Yeah,
And
and you're saying 200 for this quadrennial, that
correct,
doesn't.
correct, 250. So we don't know. We could see more next year. Just a lot's going to depend on tax bills, because people tend to appeal because of their tax bill, which
Yeah.
comes out in May, and doesn't necessarily correlate to what their assessment is. But that's we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Thanks.
Right.
Can I throw in a side note? The treasurer at the county has added phone numbers for each taxing body onto the tax
Yeah,
bill.
that started last year when she got elected.
Well, this is the first year she's putting it on. She finally sent a letter to me asking for it.
Oh.
I don't think it was on there last year. I can go into the office.
Well, she had all the townships, I think, like the main number on it or something,
Yeah.
I think.
But yeah, each library district,
She's got
park
everything.
district, everybody can have their own individual phone number on
Which is good. They still call us because if they want anything in Mchenry, because they think we're the county. So
there.
That's everything.
I know, everything. It's just, I even get emails.
Yes.
It's assessor at Mchenry Township email.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did, thank you.
Mary, I do have one question, only because it relates to me. The senior freeze. I applied last January, and then I already lived my second in January. It automatically goes into play?
No.
Or do I have to come back in the office and fill out more paperwork?
If to get your senior freeze, you have to be in the home 2 Januaries.
And I bring that to January, just,
This
who
January?
was the second one?
So
'Cause I
this
bought
is
it-
the first time you can apply.
No, I applied last January. Well, last January would have been the first January it was in the house. So January just passed, the second January it was in the house.
January of '24.
Correct, this
So
is my
this
second
is-
January.
Correct.
Right.
So this is when you would apply for 2024.
So if I come to the office to apply, or how does that work?
You can, well, you call our office, make an
I
appointment.
called twice already, they told me I didn't have to come in. That's why I'm asking you the
Well, we don't
question.
have the forms yet.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what the issue was, okay.
Because the county changes them. If you're in the system, you get it the next year when the county mails it out. If you're new, you can print it offline when they have it or get it from us. But we'll just check here, because usually the people who get them in the mail get them before we get them from the county. I don't know why, but that's fine. So,
I know,
but yes, you would, and you fill it out every year.
yeah, I know I do it from there.
Highway, I can move on. Highway Commissioners report, any questions?
Thank
No.
you.
We'll move on to that. No executive session for 14. Any board member comments? Having none, we'll go back
I do
to,
have one.
what?
I do have.
Oh, okay.
Can we set these tables up in a different fashion like we did during, it's
Do you want them in the U
in the
shape?
U shape. We
That's
could do
kinda
it-
nice, yeah.
It's
So it'd be easier
right,
to
it'd be
hear.
easier to converse and.
Or like
It's
a
usually
shallow
angled in, and it's not. I will address
Kind of
that.
like how we had it for the budget.
Budget meeting works the
That
best.
was nice.
That works the best.
You can hear it cross and
Cross.
But it doesn't, but when you're watching the film, it doesn't.
Right, we'll just
If we
angle
just,
it in.
if we just angle the two that way instead of this
It
way,
has to do with what you're seeing on YouTube.
I'll put it on camera.
When you're looking at YouTube, you're seeing profile or side views of
Well, make it a 45-degree angle, it doesn't have to be 90, yeah, whatever.
We just said that.
Yeah, that's
I will
fine.
take care of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Who actually sets up the room for the meetings? Is it Eric?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to, on the record, publicly just thank Eric for doing this every time, because like, from the RC events we've had in here, like setting up chairs and tables and taking them all down, it's, I mean, doing it all the time is not fun.
It's a thankless job.
Yeah.
It
So,
is a
thank you, Eric.
thankless job.
It's paid for that.
when he does it.
Okay, let's go back. The last thing on the agenda was the approval of the resolution to support McCog's R24-001. So essentially what that resolution is there was a report put out by CMAP, which is, I don't remember the exact, it's the community, it has to do with transportation. I don't remember exactly what it stands for. I have to pull it up real quick. But they put out a report on regional transportation here in the metropolitan area around Chicago. And McCog is a group of cities, villages, and towns, and we are also a member of the township of that group. And they've put together a resolution regarding the information that was in that report about transportation. So before COVID, everything was humming along great. COVID hits. Now there's some $700 million gap in funding. So they feel as though that rearranging the boards will help with that. I mean, you have to look at it from the standpoint, if you read the report, it's what's not in the report is what's important. And the reason I brought it to you guys is that everything that I've been involved in regarding this, and heard conversations and discussions and reports on this, is that if they rearrange the transportation boards and the collar counties lose their seat on RTA downtown, and they absolve the 2/3 majority vote on how they vote for funding, essentially the collar counties are going to be out of any money. We pay state taxes, they go down. Our tax money for transportation essentially would go into the city because it will be run by, they don't know, it's not officially out yet, but the prevailing winds are saying that it's going to be made up, the majority of Chicagoans, and therefore the money would get voted to go into Chicago. So essentially, this resolution is stating that they need to keep the boards the way they are, and that we continue with our representation, and that they continue with the supermajority of voting, is what this bottom line is what it's trying to say. And I know John had some questions or some comments about it also as he read through it.
Well, is this what you call the PRT report?
Yeah, the partner.
This is it?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, I only put
The 140.
Yeah, right, I only put
Yeah,
it like that great.
yeah.
Just to make sure I'm looking at the right.
Yeah, it's the partner. But it was from CMAP, can't remember the exact name.
Well,
CMAP.
1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph down says McHenry Township supports the adoption of a diversified revenue approach as outlined in this report. That's what we're saying, correct?
Yes, it's,
Because nowhere in this report does it discuss any money for seniors. I mean, on page 15 of the report, it clearly states the head household 65 or older by the 2030 forecast to be 35% more. But nowhere in this report does it discuss money for seniors or for the senior bus program. And that's my concern. I mean, that's where I'm coming from.
okay.
And that's why I don't know if I can agree with this report, because they don't, there's several times in here they discuss providing service, but nowhere do they discuss specifically for seniors.
I'm looking at it from the township as an entirety, that from 0 to 100 years old, that ultimately the cost to the resident in Mchenry Township is going to go up, and our money's going to go to the city of Chicago.
I know, I
That's not
understand where
right.
that's coming
That's
from.
right.
I agree with that totally.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. What
I don't think that this particular thing is looking at that micro of a situation back to our bus service.
Gary,
We
maybe
don't get any
But
funding
as
from that.
trustees for our township, it's our,
Correct.
we should be looking at that, correct?
Correct, but our funding for our buses comes from the taxpayers because they say they want it.
And my concern is Pace takes away our buses, where do we get them?
Yeah, I don't know
Well,
what that.
that's, I'm just bringing up my concern, that's all.
Okay, well, yeah, I understand. I understand the concern, but I don't,
So maybe there's a question that can clarify this a little bit. So the group for which that report was looking, the joint group that essentially we want to stay a part of, right?
Correct,
we want to support.
We want to, correct.
right.
So the money that group doles out potentially, we're worried they're going to shift all that money to Chicago instead of spreading it amongst counties, correct?
Well, that's different than
So
what
like-
the support is saying, though. The support is not saying that.
Yeah, so,
Your concern is that
so
they're
you
going to
have, so you
That's
have,
only one report.
yeah, it's,
But this is the report that we're.
it's what the resolution is based on.
Yes,
So you
right,
have
right.
CTA, Metro, Pace, there's 3 boards, I know I'm missing
RTA.
one. What?
RTA.
And RTA is the 4th one, which is actually the governing board for the other 4.
Right.
There's the Regional Transit Authority. So if they change the makeup of these boards and change, we currently have a seat on, the McHenry County has a seat on the RTA board.
Correct.
If we lose that, there's nobody there to stop the city from voting, spend all the money it.
Correct, yep.
So Metra, Metra and CTA, or Metra and Pace have no debt, and CTA has a ton of debt.
Yep.
So what I'm looking at and everything that I've heard is that ultimately there's going to be a higher cost to people in McHenry County because your state taxes are going to go up to be able to pay for the CTA and the city eventually.
Correct. So what I'm
And
asking
we're not
is
going to get any infrastructure out here.
participation in those boards at a county, like someone from the county is participating, keeps their seat on those boards. What money is coming to our area
It goes
from those
to,
boards?
goes to rebuild the train stations in Crystal Lake.
Okay.
It goes to rebuild the train stations in Cary. It goes, anything that's associated with mass transit. I'm sure that Pace probably gets a piece of that money and everything else.
And that's why that is the piece specifically it sounds like we should be concerned with, because if Pace loses a subsidy
Correct.
or a honey hole from which they're getting funding, their $100 per month bus rent might stop.
And I agree with what you're saying. In this report, they discuss disabilities, people with disabilities, they discuss children. They don't discuss seniors at all. And that's all I'm saying, I like to have the word seniors in here, somewhere.
Well, the resolution that,
Their resolution doesn't have that. We're supporting their resolution. That's what ours is.
Well,
Our
we can word it in
resolution
ours.
is in support of
We
their
can word it in our
resolution.
resolution.
And their resolution is simply saying that they want to
Correct.
keep the board the same so that they
And you
continue to
have
have a
both
voice.
resolutions in the packet.
Yeah,
So
so like
that our
Gary said,
resolution is only to support their resolution. And it was not mentioned in their resolution.
Their report, it's not a
because it has
resolution.
nothing to do with seniors, it has
No.
everything to do with all the mass transit
The resolution is
otherwise.
what we're
Correct.
supporting.
yeah.
No, our resolution supports this report.
Our resolution
Our
is
resolution
supporting their
supports their
resolution.
resolution that was sent
You're
out.
Oh, okay,
you're misreading it, John.
Yeah.
all right.
The report was the information in which they wrote their
Oh,
resolution.
okay.
Correct.
Hey, I'm just speaking my piece, and I don't have a problem proving it. I just want to make sure seniors get their fair share, that's all.
That's,
I think that's all part of it.
Right.
that's our responsibility, but by signing this, we're supporting Pace to make sure that they keep getting their money by supporting the county keeping the seat on the board, which allows us to keep supporting our seniors.
Correct. In simple terms, yeah. I'm sorry.
I support it.
If,
I'm
and
just-
I'll offer this up, if you don't feel comfortable in supporting this resolution, that's fine, you can remove yourself. If the others, and we can take a
understand.
vote.
Yeah, I understand.
We can take
Believe
a
me, I
vote now.
understand.
Okay, I want to make sure.
Yeah, believe me, I understand.
Okay. So I guess the motion would be or not a motion, but I think we had a motion on the floor to discuss and act on the current document. No? Just a discussion?
We just had a motion to move this to the end of the meeting.
Oh,
Now we need a motion to.
I'll make a motion that we approve the
Resolution.
resolution to support the other resolution to support these.
So your motion is going to be, we're going to pass a resolution in support of the McHenry County Council of Governments Resolution R24-001 as it pertains to the CMAP's and part report plan for action for regional transit.
That's it, couldn't have said it better myself.
Correct.
I'll second the motion as long as the clerk will include in his minutes that I'd like to make sure we support the seniors.
Absolutely, and the
And that's
discussion,
all I'm
I would certainly, I mean, that's our charge, and I'm with you with that, is the seniors need to be taken care of, and I think that's what we're doing with.
That was a pretty long thing. So,
I can do that twice.
yeah, tell me exactly how that motion. So
I'll have to
I
go
can
listen
spell
to it
out.
tomorrow and give it to you. I'll type it out and send it to you.
All right, thanks.
You understand what I'm saying, Victor?
Yeah. So all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing no nays, the motion passes to support the generate the resolution in support. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn our meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Meeting is adjourned, 7:56.
I haven't seen much damage out.
No, I 100% understand the senior portion. Oh, sorry, charge. Now I can leave my Jimmy Johnson. Hopefully won't get any more on my steering wheel.